Welcome to this week's crypto update. So what's been happening out there? Well, of course, there's a huge positive news out there once more about Bitcoin and crypto in general. However, does it really matter at the moment? It is all about the macro. As we've been saying in the last number of weeks, it's the macro events that really are leading the charge here. It's deciding where the overall markets are going, what's happening risk on assets. And of course, the big news was for this week was the Trump tariffs. Was he going to go as hard as some people said? Other people thought it was going to be quite light. The market had just priced in uncertainty, but no real direction. Well, now we've got pretty clear indication of what he's thinking. So the Trump tariff agenda didn't liberate investors from uncertainty so much as deepen it. So what's happened, what people were looking for from the tariffs were how much is it going to be, and is this in place, and is it going to stay in place? Now, it appears like Trump has absolutely been clear. This is it. These are the tariffs. Here's the percentage for each country. And there, it's clear. However, the market are looking at it in a slightly different way and going, okay, this is what he's saying, but is he actually going to put that in place? Many of these tariffs are coming in over the next couple of days, and so then maybe it'll become clearer. What has he done? So basically, he dropped a 10% baseline tariff on pretty much every country in the world, but some were hit much harder. Some examples: China 34%, the EU 20%, and Japan 24%. These are, of course, very significant tariffs. Is the plan to put these in place and that's it? We'll see. Many people are looking at all of this and seeing it as being an aggressive stance, and looking at opening with aggressive stance on tariffs is textbook art of the deal after all. I mentioned this a few weeks ago because, it's known that Trump, through his own book, has come out and said this is the art of the deal. Fire a grenade into the negotiating room, close the door and walk away. Come back and see and negotiate. Many people suspected that when he was talking about tariffs, that was him throwing the grenade in the room, walking away, and that when he would come back, he'd do his deals with the various countries and the tariffs mightn't come into play at all. I did say at the time, because everybody knows that, he probably would have to bring in the tariffs in order to show I am being serious. This isn't just the art of the deal, and he would have to take it much further. I believe we will still get the art of the deal, but I think he has to put the tariffs in place initially for countries to feel the pain of that, and for them then to come and negotiate on the outcome. And it is shown that that is likely to be the way. So the new two-step tariff regime imposes a blanket 10% levy on all imports starting from April 5th, which of course is in a couple of days, followed by country-specific rates kicking in April 9th, according to the White House. So obviously this gives a few days for the countries that have been hit particularly harder to come back and either negotiate, or maybe they're just going to reciprocate and come back with their own tariffs. We will see. But Mark here, Chief of Investment Officer of UBS Global Wealth Management, says the president himself invited negotiations. Treasury Secretary Besson said in a Bloomberg interview that the announced tariffs are the high end of the number and that countries could take steps to bring tariffs down. In other words, negotiate. So which way are the other countries going to go? Are they going to reciprocate and add on tariffs themselves, or are they going to negotiate in an attempt to bring these tariffs down? We shall see. So, back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin breaking. So again, we've got this macro, which can certainly be seen as the negative end of things at the minute. And then we've got Bitcoin and what else is going around in the crypto world. So breaking. Trump family enters Bitcoin mining with new venture, American Bitcoin. What's this? Eric and Donald Jr. are merging their firm, American Data Centers, with a new mining venture called American Bitcoin. The Trumps will own 20% of the company. Hut 8 takes the remaining 80%, contributing over 60,000 mining machines. So no cash changing hands. The point is here, we've got two sons of the American president getting involved in a company that's mining Bitcoin. That has to be bullish overall. Since Trump's return to office, we've numerous pro-crypto policies developments, including signed executive order to create a national strategic crypto reserve, pardoned the BitMEX co-founders, removed Tornado Cash from the Treasury sanction list, launched World Liberty Finance, a DeFi protocol on Aave, introduced a US-backed stablecoin, partnered with Crypto.com to launch crypto ETFs, and the list absolutely goes on, and we've covered the rest of that list over the last number of months. It's been just positive when it comes to the whole crypto space. Institutions are getting back in ETFs are being bought back up. The flow is very positive. So why is Bitcoin at, it was 85 all along. It went to 88 just before the announcements on the tariff. Big pullback to 82 in the space of 4 hours. And it's starting to decline even further now, definitely showing weakness. We'll touch on that a little bit further. More positive news. Tommy Lee ranked the top analyst by institutional investors every year since 1998. So this guy, from institutionals, think this guy is the guy. Bitcoin seasonally wasn't going to be attractive until after March. And now we're exiting March. Plus, the Fed's dovishness, QT ending, and there are positive tailwinds from Washington. In other words, it's very much pro-crypto now. The rules are changing. Sanctions are lifting. The SEC are removing their lawsuits from pretty much anybody and everybody that they were involved with. It's all positive. And of course, yet another week, Michael Saylor's strategy buys Bitcoin dip with another 1.9 billion purchase. It just goes on for Michael Saylor and his company. Of course, we mentioned GameStop in the last one. They were talking about raising funds. Well, since then, they have raised funds, 1.4 billion. They're expected to use that and possibly more of their now 6 billion plus on their balance sheet to buy Bitcoin. On top of that, we've Metaplanet issues 13.3 million in new bonds to buy more Bitcoin as the Nikkei dips 4%. This brings Metaplanet's total holdings to 4,206 Bitcoin. While that's great, the plans are bigger. Metaplanet aims to hold 10,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. They have a lot of buying still to do. And 21,000 Bitcoin by the end of the following year. So even more buying to do. And this is just one company. Bitcoin miner Mara eyes 2 billion stock offering to do what? Buy more Bitcoin. This is happening. More and more companies are starting to do this. And it's all in the billions. It's huge quantities of Bitcoin being bought up. There is only so much of it out there. At some stage, there's going to be very little of it available and huge amounts of it in demand. The demand is increasing. The availability is reducing. We know what tends to happen in those situations. When will it happen? That's the question. Japan just keeps seems to be getting deeper and deeper into crypto. Their second largest bank is now eyeing to launch a stablecoin. Of course, stablecoins are the big thing at the minute. So it's usually positive news all over. And so, back to Trump. One thing, he announced the tariffs, but one thing that seems to have gone unreported whatsoever, he said, and now we're going to pass the largest tax cuts in American history, and we will not cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid benefits. Okay, so what we've got here now is a president who's trying to completely change how the government is run. They're trying to reduce the spending through Doge and Elon Musk is doing. So they're trying to reduce that by $1 trillion a year. They're actively engaged in that. On the other hand, they're trying to raise $1 trillion. How's he trying to do that? Well, through tariffs. By raising the tariffs right across the world, companies all over the world have a choice. Either they pay those tariffs or they can move and start producing their products in the US and therefore won't have any tariffs, which of course will create jobs in the US, which benefits the normal individual in the street. What might this do in the meantime? Of course, it can have an effect on the overall stock market. It's going to be very difficult, I believe, for risk-on assets for the foreseeable future. This is why I've been saying for months now. First of all, I believed we were going to come down to 74,000 for Bitcoin. This was when it was over 100 grand. Most people couldn't see that as a possibility. We've come as low as 76. Will we get to 74? We'll touch on that again. But the point here is, I think we're going to see more pain over the next few weeks and maybe even months. Is that such a bad thing? Well, if you're in a hurry, yes. If you're invested long term, not so much. And if Bitcoin goes sideways from here, then it's highly likely altcoins will bleed further. If Bitcoin has a significant pullback, which is certainly very possible, altcoins will bleed even harder. This creates unbelievable opportunity for people to buy in to really good projects, but at heavily discounted prices. Proven projects, rather than taking gambles on things that haven't gone yet. So what this does, I believe, is give us unbelievable opportunities, provided you're doing the research or know of projects that are really good projects, but have been overpriced. This is what we're doing in our coin reports. Our first project went out yesterday. Make sure you watch the introduction video and then look at the actual project itself. See if it fits for you. We have many more of these projects coming out. I believe you're going to get great opportunities to buy into these brilliant projects that have been overpriced, but now are coming into really good price levels and potentially even better over the next weeks and months. And this could set you up for what I believe is going to be the biggest bull run we'll ever see. And you will have bought into really good projects. Again, if you've done your research. Watch out for our coin reports. There's many of them coming out in the short term. So, in summary, where are we at? Well, I think this one sums it up pretty well. It's Liberation Day, as of yesterday, when Trump tariffs take effect. Tariffs are part of a larger strategy. He's talking about removing income tax under 150k. Imagine if he can actually bring that to fruition, where they actually, anyone under 150k doesn't pay income tax. That would be amazing. Raise $1 trillion in revenue through tariffs and the likes of the golden visa and things we've covered before. Cut $1 trillion in spending coming from Doge and bring back manufacturing into the US, which is highly likely to happen. Some of the biggest companies in the world will start producing in America. This is going to be hugely beneficial to the American economy overall, which drives the world economy. Of course, there's going to be pain felt around the world, and I believe there's going to be pain for risk on assets, including the stock market and crypto. But this leads to opportunity if you're prepared, ready, educated to go. With that, hopefully you found that useful, and we'll talk to you all very soon.